You are watching the whale flow, where we don't predict the next price move, we understand the architecture behind it. In this episode, we look at one of the most important chapters in the evolution of blockchain, Layer 2, the expansion of Ethereum and the race to scale the world's most used decentralized network. To understand why Layer 2 exists, we have to go back to the origin of Ethereum itself. Ethereum was never designed for mass adoption. It was designed to prove that code could become law, that smart contracts could replace middlemen, and that digital agreements could live on a public, censorship-resistant network. That vision worked, but success came with a cost. As more people began to use Ethereum, the network became congested. Fees rose from a few cents to tens of dollars. Transactions slowed. Suddenly, the very network that promised freedom started to feel restricted. It was clear that Ethereum had reached its limits, and the only way forward was expansion. That expansion is called Layer 2. A Layer 2 is a network built on top of Ethereum that processes transactions faster and cheaper, while still relying on Ethereum's security. Think of it like an express lane on a crowded highway. The cars move on the upper road, but every few miles, they merge back into the main highway to confirm that everything is valid. This design keeps the foundation safe while allowing speed and scalability. Different Layer 2 networks use different technologies to achieve this. Optimistic rollups, like Arbitrum and Optimism, assume transactions are valid by default and only check them if someone challenges their accuracy. This allows huge numbers of transactions to be bundled together, reducing costs dramatically. Zero-knowledge rollups, or ZK rollups, take a more advanced approach. They use mathematical proofs to show that transactions are valid before they're even confirmed. Projects like zkSync, StarkNet, and Polygon zkEVM are pioneers of this method, building systems that compress thousands of actions into a single proof. The result is a network that can process data at near Web 2 speed while remaining fully decentralized. In the broader picture, Layer 2 is not just a technical patch. It is a structural revolution. Ethereum's founder, Vitalik Buterin, calls it the modular future. Instead of one blockchain doing everything, computation, storage, consensus, Ethereum is evolving into a multi-layer organism. The base layer becomes the settlement and security engine. Layer 2s become the execution environments, where users interact, trade, play, and build. This separation of responsibilities mirrors how real economies work. A central bank handles settlement and monetary policy, while thousands of private institutions handle everyday transactions. This evolution changes how capital moves. In previous cycles, users had to compete for limited block space on Ethereum. Now, liquidity flows across multiple Layer 2 networks, each specializing in different activities. Arbitrum has become home to advanced DeFi ecosystems. Optimism is focusing on public goods and developer incentives. zkSync and StarkNet are pushing cryptographic innovation to new limits. Base, built by Coinbase, brings millions of exchange users into the Ethereum world. Each one is a city built on the same continent, independent in activity, but unified in law. This modular structure creates a new kind of economy, a Layer 2 nation-state network. Every Layer 2 has its own native token, its own culture, and its own governance. Yet, they all settle back to the same foundation, Ethereum, just like multiple states settling disputes in a common court. As this system matures, Ethereum evolves from being a single blockchain into a federation of interconnected economies. It becomes less a platform, and more an ecosystem of ecosystems. The emergence of Layer 2 also reshapes how developers think. In the past, launching an application on Ethereum meant dealing with high fees and scalability limits. Now, projects can deploy on a Layer 2 chain, enjoy near-instant transactions, and still inherit Ethereum's security. This lowers the barrier for innovation. We are seeing DeFi protocols rebuild themselves on Arbitrum, gaming platforms on StarkNet, and identity projects on zkSync. The creativity that once slowed under high gas fees is now accelerating again. But every evolution comes with trade-offs. Layer 2 introduces new forms of centralization, especially in their early stages. Most rely on a handful of operators to sequence transactions and submit proofs to Ethereum. If those operators fail or act maliciously, the network can be disrupted. Over time, these systems will decentralize. But for now, users must understand that scalability often starts with trust before returning to code. It's the same pattern every technological revolution follows. First, efficiency, then security, then full autonomy. The rise of Layer 2 also has a deep economic impact. When users move their transactions to Layer 2, Gas consumption on Ethereum changes. The demand for block space shifts. The network fee revenue redistributes. Ethereum itself becomes less congested, but also more dependent on the health of its child chains. This interdependence forms a new type of relationship in the crypto economy, one that behaves almost like macroeconomics between a central economy and its provinces. Over the next few years, this architecture will expand even further. We'll see Layer 3 solutions, where specialized networks, for gaming, AI, or data, run on top of Layer 2s. We'll see bridges and aggregators that allow users to move assets between layers seamlessly. And we'll see Ethereum transform from a single chain into an internet of rollups. A global settlement layer that quietly underpins trillions of dollars in digital activity. For investors, understanding this shift is critical. In every cycle, infrastructure innovation leads the next wave of value creation. In 2017 it was smart contracts. In 2020 it was DeFi. In 2024 and beyond, it will be scalability. The Layer 2 sector is not just about lower fees, it is about enabling the next billion users to enter blockchain without even realizing it. Whoever captures that flow of users will capture the next decade of growth. But there's a lesson beneath all of this. Speed alone doesn't win. The projects that survive will be those that align with Ethereum's values: open access, transparency, and decentralization, while delivering real performance. Many networks will rise quickly, driven by incentives and airdrops, but only a few will sustain themselves through real usage and developer loyalty. The same way nations prosper not by temporary wealth but by strong institutions. Layer 2 networks will thrive only if they build communities of builders and believers. So when you look at Layer 2 today, don't just see a technical fix. See a structural transformation, the expansion of Ethereum from a single chain into a digital continent. Each Layer 2 is a city, a marketplace, a network of innovation connected by the laws of the Ethereum base. Together, they form the foundation for Web3, a scalable, interconnected, human-centered internet. The next bull market will not be defined by hype alone. It will be defined by usability. The winners will be the blockchains that people use without thinking about blockchains at all. And Layer 2 is how that future begins. This is the whale flow, where we study the layers of this new world, where we follow the movement of logic, not emotion, and where those who understand the foundation of scalability will understand where the next wave of value will rise.